Hey everybody, welcome to my kitchen. We are going to be cooking up a delicious salad today. I thought I would make use of those last peaches that are in my refrigerator. I know it's quickly coming to the end, right? Summertime. There's a crispness in the air that's going to get us thinking about eating warmer foods. But I thought with this one, we're kind of doing both because what we're going to do is we're going to pair the sweetness of peaches with the sweetness of sweet potatoes. And for those of you watching that are following the 10-day sugar cleanse, this is a great way to introduce sweet foods that are naturally sweet without adding more of the artificial sweeteners that we have become so accustomed to adding into our diet. So today what we're going to do is we're going to caramelize these. Caramelizing naturally brings out the sugars in the sugar flavor in the sweet potato and the peaches. How many of you out there have ever cooked a peach before? Now you could grill these peaches as well, so if it's still warm enough by you and you want to take it outdoors, a great way to grill a peach is just cut it in half and put it face down on the grill, not over direct flame because you don't want to burn the peach, but that high temperature will caramelize the sugars that are already in that delicious fruit. So what we're going to do today, we're going to actually saute these two to bring out those sugars. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take first off my sweet potato. If you'd like, you can peel your sweet potato. It does make for a nicer presentation, but I like to keep my skin of my potato on because most of the nutrients are on the surface of a vegetable. And if you take that peel away, you're not only taking away some nutrients, some phytonutrients that might be in there, that are in there, but you'll also be removing the fiber that's in the skin. So today what we're going to do is I want to just make a small dice of the sweet potato. So I'm going to cut it down lengthwise, and I'm just going to cut it in kind of like French fries, right? French fries shape, just into long julienne shapes like this. Because what I want to do is I want to get a nice even dice. What does that mean? That means that the pieces are more or less the same size. I'm actually going to turn these sideways and cut down so that they really are of a French fry shape. And I want the size of the sweet potato to be fairly small so that it cooks up nice and quickly. Once I have my strips, I'm going to turn it 90 degrees and cut down into a dice. And I'll show you that in one moment. And you'll see how quick it is. Quick and easy it really is to dice up a sweet potato like this. Looks like there was like a little eye on the side here. I'm going to cut that right off. I don't want that in my dish. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab out my skillet and heat up my pan. I actually put this little burner on the counter so that you can see instead of me having to turn around to cook on my stove. Although I do love my gas stove. It works so well. I really do enjoy cooking with gas because it's much more responsive. We're going to wait a minute for this to heat up. While that is heating up, I'm going to cut my peach. This is a very ripe peach. This is a great way to make use of a good juicy peach. This, by the way, is called a cling-free or free stone because it breaks away from the center pit, which is also known as a stone. So cling free. If it's a cling peach, that means that it's going to be very difficult to get the slices away from the inner pit. How many times have you guys done that? You know, where you get something and you're trying to cut it and it just doesn't come away from the pit. This is much easier. So what I'm doing is I just cut it in half, and then I'm just going to cut it that way. And I'm going to cut these into cubes, just like I did my sweet potato, so that they are about a uniform size, more or less. All right, my pan is beginning to heat up here. Now, I still have, oh, and I did wash this peach beforehand, although it does still feel a little fuzzy. I'm going to give it another extra wash here. Just get some of that peach fuzz off of the surface. And you know what? The pit's still in this, but I'm just going to cut the slices away from the pit. Makes it easier way to free the pit from the fruit. There we go. All right, then I'm going to turn it sideways and cut through again. So this is a great salad. Uses up some of these end of the summer foods that we have. I have some wonderful baby spinach that we'll be using, some cherry tomatoes, and I'm going to add in a little bit of red onion for a little bit of zing to it. And here's the fun thing, pistachios. Oh my goodness, so good. All right, we're heating up here. I'm going to add in a little bit of olive oil, maybe about a tablespoon. And I'm going to let that heat up a little bit. And then I'm going to add in I just did that to see if the oil was hot, but I should have known better. It's going to take a little while. I should have heated that up before I started. That would have been a good thing. Save a little bit of time. So you'll get to hear me talk a little bit. So here we have our fixings to go into our salad. So we have our diced sweet potato, just now sizzling, so I'm going to add those in. FYI, when you are sauteing, what you want to do, if it's a nonstick pan, is you want to heat the pan first, then add the oil, heat that, and then add your food that you are sauteing. That keeps it from sticking. All right. And I'm going to hold off putting the peaches in because, as we know, the sweet potatoes will take longer to cook than the peaches. So while these are starting to heat up, I'm just going to make a little bit of room, and I'm going to slice up my onions. I don't need a lot. I have a red onion here. It was just left over from another recipe that I had made the other day. And what I'm going to do is, this is just a half, less than a half. I'm just going to cut it into very small slivers, like so. And probably this will come to about maybe a quarter cup. So I have 1 peach, 1 sweet potato, and about a quarter cup of a thinly sliced, and I might even call this a chop because I'm going to go through and make it smaller. If you are very sensitive to raw onions, something that's good to do is to let your onions soak in vinegar before you use them for maybe about 20 minutes. All right, here we go. So here we have our small dice of red onion. You can use white onion, you could use sweet onion. Keep that sweetness coming, right? Stir. So this should take about 7 to 10 minutes to cook. Letting that get nice and coated with the oil that I put in. I'm going to turn it down a little bit now since it's heated up. And I really want to get the sweet potatoes cooking a little bit before, as I said, before I add in the peaches. So, what else do we have in the salad? Did I mention goat cheese? So I love to add in a little bit of goat cheese. It has a very strong flavor. You don't need to use a lot, but it's nice. It's nice and soft texture to go nicely with this. We will be putting a balsamic vinaigrette on our salad. And one of the things that we were talking about in our sugar cleanse was adding sugars. So where are sugars in your diet? We looked through a lot of our jars and sauces, and there were a lot of surprises, I think, as to how much sugar is actually added into these foods. But the question came up, what about balsamic vinegar? And balsamic vinegar is one of those that does have some sugars added to it. And depending on the quality of the vinegar that you use, it can be either just a red wine vinegar with just some grape juice added to it, or if you get a true balsamic, it will say made in Modena, and it will have a designation on the back, which is IGA or DOC. So you know that you have a real vinegar. A real balsamic vinegar is made from white grapes that are fermented. This one is made from some red wine vinegar with a little bit of the grape must added as well, but then fermented. So, as with anything, quality does matter. And it is a better food for us. It's a little shortcut to be adding the grape juice to the red wine vinegar. All right. So I am going to, these are halfway done. So I'm going to now add in my peaches. And let those caramelize. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to add my onions because those can caramelize as well. So I didn't soak them in the vinegar, which would have made them more mild. But I'm going to add them into the caramelizing fruit and vegetable mix here. Ooh, it smells so good. I wish you could smell it. You can probably see it smoking all around me. All right, we're going to give that a few more minutes. What I want to do is just have the peaches heat up and begin to brown a little bit. Because as I said, once those sugars start to caramelize, you really get a nice flavor. The sweetness comes out. All right. Thinking we'll put on a vent here. Hopefully that's not too noisy. All right. You can probably hear that sizzling, can't you? All right, I'm going to give that another minute. While that is cooking, I didn't use all the onion that I had, so I'm just going to put it back in my keeper here and use it for another time. All right. So, while we're waiting for that to finish cooking, let's assemble the rest of our ingredients, shall we? So what I have is some organic baby spinach that I have. And, oh, before I add to that, what I want to do is I want to cut my tomatoes in half. So I have about 12 cherry tomatoes here. I actually like to use a serrated knife to cut my tomatoes because it cuts through the skins very easily. And I'm going to cut these in half. I always like to cut my tomatoes in half. Find them easier to eat. Have you ever tried to like stab a cherry tomato in a salad and it wasn't cut and it just keeps going around the dish? This prevents that from happening. Okay, so we now have our cherry tomatoes. I'm going to add that into my salad. Let me give my sweet potatoes a little bit of a stir. Oh yes, this is looking good. Yes, yes, yes. All right. Keep that a little bit longer. I might have even been able to, if it wasn't that I was doing this for a certain amount of time, I would have let those sweet potatoes cook for a little bit longer before I added in the peaches. But I think in the interest of time, that works pretty well. So, let's see. I don't want to add the cheese yet because I'd like to put the cheese on top. Ideally, I might wait a little bit to let this cool down, but I think we're okay. We'll experiment. Maybe it'll be a wilted spinach salad. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with that either. I'm going to lift this up so you can see it. All right, hold on. I'm going to get another apple here. There we go. All right. Doesn't that look good? It smells delicious. And as I said, you know, it really develops those flavors. So I think we are going to add this into our salad. Now, as I said, typically you probably would want to transfer it to a plate or just let it cool for a little bit before adding in. We'll experiment. We'll see how this works. All right. And maybe we'll take this hot plate out of the way. Go. All right. Oh, yum, 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 yum. What I love about this is all the color. And if you know me, what I say is the more color in your plant-based dish, right? I say that because I'm not talking about Skittles or M&Ms. Those don't count, sorry. The more nutritional value there is in there. Why? Because the phytonutrients, those things that we call antioxidants, flavonols, all of those things that help our cells function properly, keep us actually younger, are expressed in color. And every different color is a different phytonutrient. I'm going to add about a handful, which is about a quarter cup of pistachios. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my goat cheese and I'm just using a fork to crumble. I'm going to put in maybe about a quarter cup as well. Let's see. I'm going to put in about half of this packet, and we'll see how much that is. Well, that looks lovely, lovely, lovely. And you know, I got so excited about adding in this goat cheese that I almost forgot to add the dressing. But what's nice about this dish is that the dressing is super simple to make. I just want to do about 3 parts olive oil to 1 part of my balsamic vinegar. So I'm just going to I've got about a tablespoon of balsamic vinegar here. And I love using a mason jar to do this because it makes it super simple to mix. I'm going to add about 3 parts to the 1 part of vinegar, which means about 3 tablespoons. Take a look. Oh yeah, I think that looks good. 3 to 1. A little bit of pepper. A pinch of salt. I have some pink Himalayan salt here, sea salt. And here comes the fun part. Shake it up. All right, and there you have it. It's all nice and mixed up. I'm gonna give it a little bit of a taste. See whether I got my, oh yeah, that's good, yum, yum, yum. Okay, we're just gonna pour that in. I didn't put all of it in yet. We'll see. See whether we need it all. Let me get another. Go. I'm just going to toss this all together. Oh my goodness, this smells divine. Now, what I could have done is put the cheese in last so that it still looked crumbled. Now, what happened was because the ingredients were a little bit warm, it almost looks like a creamy vinaigrette kind of dressing. And that's okay, I like that idea. If you want, you could toss your greens with the salad dressing and then add the ingredients on top. Depending on your presentation that you want to do, you could do it into individual plates that way, so that you have the tossed greens, but then you put the nuts, the tomatoes, and the cheese along with the peaches on top, and sweet potatoes on top. So here's what we have. A delicious dish. And what I'm going to do is, let me just grab a plate. So I actually have some dressing left over for the next time I make a salad. All good. And we will just plate this. Get some of this goodness. And there you have your finished salad. And what's nice about this is real hearty. If you had some leftover rotisserie meat, leftover chicken that you roasted, this would be a great accompaniment to it. You've got your sweet potatoes, which are a good carb with lots of phytonutrients in it, lots of fiber, which is very good, but also a sweet taste, so very satisfying. So I'm just going to take a quick taste. I've got a little bit of everything here. Oh, yum. Really good. That cheese gives it a nice creamy flavor, brings everything together. And I just got a little bit of sweet potato too. Sweet potato is such a different flavor in there. So I hope you get a chance to try. This is a wonderful quick dish to make. We made it in 25 minutes. And is great for dinner, great for lunch, great to end up our summer season. So I hope you enjoyed today's cooking class. If you enjoyed this, I have lots more on my YouTube channel, just Evey Schweig. If you are looking for healthy recipes and looking to improve your diet, on October 14th, I am starting my Harvest Your Natural Energy program. It's a 10-day program with a 5-day eating program. You will get a cookbook as well as a meal planner and a shopping list to make this as simple and easy as possible. I'll be working with my colleague, Mary Ellen Zung, and we will actually have 2 introductory Zoom calls where you can ask any questions that you might have, but we will give you all the information that you need. We'll go through the program guide, which has all that information in it, as well as taking a look at how to plan out your week of healthy eating. So I hope you join us. If you are interested in doing that, just IM me. Let me know. I will send you further information, further details. Hope to see you then. If not, hope you enjoy what we're cooking, and I hope to see you next week. See you then. Take care now. Bye-bye.